There is a level of discipline that makes people uncomfortable just by watching you live your life. Not because you are loud, not because you are aggressive, but because you show up every single day without excuses. You have seen that person before. They wake up at the same time every morning. They do the same work. They do not complain. They do not negotiate with themselves. While most people quit by week 2, they keep going. While others look for motivation, they rely on something much deeper. And people say the same thing about them. That is not normal. What if I told you this level of consistency is not talent, not willpower, not motivation, but a system? A system so simple and so strict that once it starts, it never stops. This system has been practiced for centuries by people who understood the human mind far better than we do today. And once you understand how it works, breaking a goal will feel harder than keeping it. But there is a price. This method is not for everyone, because it requires you to let an old version of yourself disappear. Stay with me. What you are about to learn can change how you see discipline forever. Chapter 1 begins with a man named Raphael. From the outside, his life looked stable. He was intelligent. He had a good career. People trusted him. But privately, he carried a quiet frustration. No matter what habit he tried to build, it always collapsed. Exercise lasted 2 weeks. Meditation faded after a few days. Reading books turned into unfinished promises on a shelf. The pattern never changed. Monday felt powerful. Wednesday brought excuses. Friday ended in surrender. Sunday was filled with guilt and promises to start again. Raphael tried everything people recommend. Tracking apps, rewards, accountability partners. None of it lasted. Oh, what he did not realize yet was this. He was not failing because he lacked discipline. He was failing because his identity never changed. If this cycle feels familiar to you, comment 1 below. What comes next explains why this keeps happening. Chapter 2 is where everything changed for Raphael. Not because he found more motivation, but because he finally understood why motivation always fails. There is a principle practiced for centuries inside Zen communities called continuous practice. The idea is simple. Practice happens without gaps, no pauses, no exceptions. In some temples, a bell rings at the same time every morning. Not earlier, not later. When the bell rings, people move. No one asks how they feel. No one negotiates. Raphael realized something unsettling. His brain treated habits as optional agreements. Optional things invite debate, and debate always leads to delay. When a commitment becomes irreversible, the debate disappears. You do not decide whether to brush your teeth. You do not decide whether to show up to work. Those actions are part of who you are. For the first time, Raphael saw the real problem. He was trying to act disciplined without becoming a disciplined person. And as long as his identity stayed the same, the cycle would repeat. What happens next forced him to make a decision he could not undo. Chapter 3 revealed the real battle Raphael still had to fight. Even after understanding identity and commitment, his body did not care. His mind might have changed, but biology had not caught up yet. Every morning the same war began. His alarm rang and immediately his thoughts started negotiating. You are tired. You can do it later. One day will not matter. This is where most people fail without realizing why. They waste mental energy answering the same question every day. When should I do this? Morning or night? Now or later? Raphael learned that decisions drain discipline before action even begins. So he removed the question entirely. He chose one fixed hour and never changed it. Not because it was optimal, but because it eliminated choice. 5 in the morning became non-negotiable. The world was silent. No messages, no interruptions, no excuses. The first week felt brutal. His body resisted every step. But by the second week, something shifted. He began waking up before the alarm. By removing time as a variable, his mind stopped arguing. Action replaced thought. And for the first time, the habit began moving on its own. Chapter 4 is where most people unknowingly destroy their own progress. Raphael had fixed the time. The alarm rang. His body moved. But something was still wrong. Each morning he changed the activity. Some days meditation felt right. Other days reading seemed smarter. Sometimes exercise replaced both. The habit happened, but the structure did not. This is how the mind survives. When it can no longer argue about when, it argues about what. Choice became the new negotiation, and negotiation always weakens consistency. Raphael understood a hard truth. Variety does not create freedom. Variety creates friction. Every small decision drains energy before the practice even begins. So he removed choice entirely. One sequence, one order, one duration, every day without exception. 20 push-ups, 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of reading, no upgrades, no substitutions, no creativity. The reaction came quickly. Friends called it obsessive. Balance was mentioned. Normal behavior was defended. That was the signal. Systems that work always look uncomfortable to people without one. The third week tested him the most. His mind demanded change, but repetition won. If your mind constantly searches for variety and escape comment 2 below, this is where habits stop depending on willpower and start sustaining themselves. Chapter 5 taught Raphael the most dangerous lie about discipline. The idea that if something cannot be done perfectly, it should not be done at all. This belief had ended every habit he ever tried to build. When he felt tired, he skipped. When life became busy, he postponed. When conditions were not ideal, he waited. Waiting created gaps, and gaps allowed the old version of himself to return. Raphael realized that consistency does not require perfection. It requires continuity. A habit does not need to be impressive. It needs to remain alive. On difficult days, he reduced the practice but never removed it. If energy was low, push-ups became slower, meditation became shorter, reading became one page instead of many. The form changed, but the chain stayed unbroken. That was the rule. No gaps. This is how real systems survive reality. They bend without breaking. They move forward even when conditions are bad. When Raphael traveled, he adapted. When he was sick, he simplified. The practice continued. That is when something unexpected happened. The habit stopped feeling fragile. It stopped depending on mood or motivation. By refusing to create gaps, Raphael was no longer someone who practiced sometimes. He became someone who simply did. Chapter 6 introduced the challenge Raphael could never predict in advance: unexpected obstacles. Life does not ask for permission before it interferes. A late meeting, a broken alarm, travel days, low-energy mornings. These moments had destroyed his habits before because they forced him to decide under pressure. And decisions made in chaos always favor comfort. This time Raphael did something different. He decided in advance. He wrote down every situation that had ever broken his consistency. Then he assigned a response to each one. If travel happened, the practice became smaller. If time was limited, the sequence stayed, but the duration shrank. If energy was low, the movements slowed, but never stopped. When the obstacle arrived, there was no thinking, no discussion, no debate. The answer already existed. This removed more than excuses. It removed uncertainty. By pre-deciding his responses, Raphael protected the habit from the future. No matter what happened tomorrow, the practice would continue in some form. That certainty changed everything. Discipline no longer depended on circumstances. It operated automatically. The system had learned how to survive reality. Chapter 7 was not about doing more. It was about becoming someone else. By this point, the practice no longer felt heavy. Raphael did not wake up asking if he would follow the system. His body already knew the answer. Action happened before doubt appeared. People around him noticed the change. They said he was intense, obsessive, different. Some even said his discipline was unhealthy. That reaction confirmed everything. Consistency that works always makes comfortable people uneasy. Raphael was no longer chasing habits. He was protecting an identity that does not negotiate, an identity that continues even when no one is watching. This was the real transformation, not better motivation, not stronger willpower, but the death of the version of himself that needed excuses. He did not force discipline anymore. He lived it. And that is why his consistency felt unsettling to others, because it was no longer an effort. It was simply who he was. This is where the story ends, but the real work begins. The system you just learned is simple, but it is not easy. Most people will hear this and return to old patterns tomorrow. A few will not. The difference is not knowledge, it is decision. If you are ready to stop negotiating with yourself, make it public. Write it down. Say it out loud. Tell someone. Comment below what practice you will commit to starting today. If you are serious, comment your declaration now. If this video changed how you see discipline, subscribe to the channel. More content like this is coming. Content designed to help you build consistency that lasts. Remember, normal effort creates normal results. You are here to become something else.